Welcome back to Beyond the Bridge, episode 11,
Hey.
part 3. We're back after some technical difficulties, and the adventurers have walked into the fungal battlefield and strode through the amassed dead and the sprouting mycelia that form fronds that block out the verdant rays of the sun on all sides. Verdant rays of the sun? The vibrant rays of the sun is what I meant to say. And as you reach the cancerous cyst at the heart of this fungal menagerie, you see that it's not identical to how it was before. Rather than a smooth kind of shape, it's more puckered and broken. You can see multiple burst cavities around the exterior of it, and you can see its sponge-like interior kind of open as the external husk is shattered and torn in places. Asham, you think you could probably find your way back to where you forced your way in before. However, you can no longer see the same regular spherical, semi-spherical structure, and you can't spot the stone pillar that you guided yourself by before, but you still can remember the direction you approached it from quite well.
Okay. I tell Robin and Lynn that they might want to put some cloth over their nose because, being non-dwarfs, they might not be as resilient as a small folk against spores and poisonous stuff.
That's good advice. We'll do that.
Sure. Actually, I am, but I'll do it anyway.
I'm not.
Would you like a piece? I rip a piece off my cloak and go, it's ripped anyway. Do you want a piece?
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I soak it with my water skin and hand you a piece.
So, Asham, do you
Yeah.
forge ahead?
I try to find the place where we were last time.
Okay, so as you follow Asham, he leads you to the exterior of this mass, and you can see ragged flaps where it's burst open. But those of you with dark vision, so Brotzgar and Asham, you can see further past what appears to be a kind of roughly spheroid room-esque, with the walls being composed of this fungal matter. You can see another ragged tear which leads further in. And Asham, you vaguely recognize this as where you were before, but you're getting this odd sense of deja vu. You can see familiar sights, this is where you came in before. The same tear, but the tear is a different shape. The room's not quite the same. You can see the kind of green mossy depression where those smaller fungal creatures were, but you can't see that kind of green moss now, and it's filled with this thin surface liquid, this kind of red liquid. Almost looks like blood, except it looks a bit too watery to be blood. The rest of you, Lynn and Lynn and Robin, you don't have dark vision, do you? Robin is a halfling.
No.
Okay, you can't see further than 20 feet into the torn opening through which Sham and Brotzgar are staring. You'll need some sort of light source. The entire area is damp and fetid, and this fungal mold stench is rising to your nostrils. Lynn and Robin, the pair of you, your eyes, nose, and mouth are all kind of irritated. And as you put the damp cloths over your mouth, your breathing becomes easier in a way and more difficult. You have this kind of claustrophobic feel of the wet cloth to your face, but you no longer have that irritating, burning sensation stabbing at your orifices.
A question.
So
I also have the same resistance as a dwarf actually for poison. I don't know if that was what Asham was referring to.
I was Dwarven Resilience.
As a stout halfling?
Yeah.
I can. So do we need light? I could
Yes,
cast
please.
a light cantrip for us.
I don't have the eyesight of a dwarf. I'm gonna need a bit of light
Would
in
be
here.
perfect.
Yeah.
I could light a torch, but if we're careful about fire, your light
We
would
don't-
be much better.
Asham's told me
And-
not to, so I'm not gonna
Yeah,
light
exactly.
it.
And it's not how we left it last time. Something changed. We might be surprised. I don't know. So let's
Place
be
is
careful.
mushroom. I'm guessing it's grown a bit.
Well, last time there wasn't a pool of liquidy red blood thing. Last time this was where we encountered the mushroom baby zombie zomboids.
Are there corpses around?
Pardon?
Looking around, the only corpses you see are the amassed bones of long dead warriors. Like, when you ask, are there corpses around, you look like 5 feet to your right, and you can see like a skeletal hand reaching out of half a mushroom towards you. And for a moment it seems like it's moving, and then you realise it's just falling as the mushroom can no longer support its weight, and it just kind of goes...
Yeah, so I search around for a while for something that I could hold, but then decide that it's best to use it on my shield, and I give a short prayer and cast light on it, and my shield starts emitting this bright white light around
Actually,
it.
like, you can see in the dark, friend. Why don't you put it on one of us that can't see in the dark?
Well, do you want to? You're a kind of stealthy guy, aren't you?
You
You want
could
to
put
be
it on my
carrying a
shield.
source of
Exactly.
light around.
Give it to Lenora.
Okay. Leah, you can have the light on
Thank
your
you.
shield then.
That's perfect. Oh, looks
A
very shiny.
A shining shield, so that
I
gives
poke it with my finger.
The glow does not diminish at all when you poke it with your finger, though you leave a kind of dirty smear where your hand has touched it.
I washed it 3 weeks ago, so everything's fine.
So that's 20-foot radius of light and 20 feet of dim light.
Okay.
Yeah, I suggest that the stronger ones go first, so I go first and enter the room.
Okay. So
I can
Asham,
follow.
as you walk into the room, are you striding through the pool, or are you skirting around the outside of it?
I inspect
It's
the
maybe
pool, but do
maybe
not
about
go
half
inside.
a foot. It's maybe about half a foot deep. And as you
I
like
inspect
look
it.
through it, you can kind of almost see the bottom. And as you're looking into it, there's just like a small like bubble that comes up from below, and like something bobs to the surface, and it like slowly rotates. And there's you have this like feeling of dread. You know what it is, and it like rolls over, and it's just like this tiny skull staring at you, much too small to be a human, and it just kind of stares at you, dead eyes filled with this red liquid.
It looks somewhat related to zombie embryo mushrooms.
It rings that similar note.
I'm pretty sure I cut that one half diagonally.
It must be a different one. The skull's almost intact. It's missing its jaw though.
Not diagonally, shoulder to hip.
You said that these definitely weren't undead.
No, unless we've had a paladin with you. He didn't get with us. He didn't get one of your tingly feelings, so we assumed that they were not undead.
I guess Robin would kind of believe you, but I still want to activate Divine Sense just to discount it.
You sense no undead, fiend, or celestial within 60
I mean,
feet that
they
is
did
not
look like
obscured by
zombies,
direct line of
but-
sight.
Yeah.
Nor
But
is the area desecrated.
Okay.
It was more like the mushrooms were growing around the skeletons. So I lead the way towards the second room where the Stitch monster was with its Stitch master.
Okay.
It was
This sounds
As
so
you-
fun.
As you move into the room beyond, skirting around the edges of this pool and your comrades follow you, you find the floor of the second chamber is covered with almost like a foot or two of this fungal kind of growth, and it bulges in places. And you can kind of like work backwards in your brain that beneath these bulges are the bits of arm, bits of flesh, and the remains of the monsters, as though the fungus is just kind of like bubbled up around it. But as you look at it, you can see that it's not a solid mass. It's like a bubble, almost like kind of got that like a spongy, bouncy feel to it.
it's
So I'm assuming
recycling.
you don't touch it.
Wait, you have a staff. Can you poke one of the bubbles maybe?
Why would you do that?
Spear?
There's no
I
need.
don't know. The last time we looked at pillars and they looked just like pillars and then they tried to eat us.
If you really want to do something, just throw a rock from a distance. You don't need to touch it.
If you look around,
lacking-
and there's not a
I was
single
about to say,
rock that's covered.
Lacking the rocks, I take a skull.
So you pick up a skull, and as you grab it in your hand, it just like folds like wet newspaper and just goes like, and you're just holding like this wet mass, which like should be bone and hard, but it's soggy and damp, and you get like these little bits of green mushrooms stuck between your fingers.
I try to throw the mask.
Oh snap! I just checked my inventory. I've still got that 10-foot pole in it.
I knew it.
Unfortunately, the 10-foot pole has combust. It's not made of ever-burning wood, so But no, you
I've still got it. I didn't sell it, so.
And you were complaining that it was too big for you to buy. Should have bought a quarterstaff from Xiaodi. So do you take out your 10-foot pole and poke it?
I do have javelins.
I'll give my 10-foot pole to Asham, so he can poke it.
Asham, you're gifted a 10-foot length of wood.
I poke the bubble and do not give the pole back ever.
Okay. So as you poke the bubble, it kind of like wobbles and then kind of starts deflating, and this just like noxious gas sprays out of the top like as it deflates, and it fills the air with this just compounded stench. This place already smells bad enough. It's as though you've walked into an abattoir that set the temperature to, I don't know, boiling point, and then someone farted, and it just goes and you can see like these green little spores flowing up into the air, and the bubble itself just kind of bursts and falls apart like a unfolding flower. In the center you can see like a roughly humanoid mushroom thing that's just like fallen apart, so it's kind of like the chalk outline of a human, except that there's no chalk and it's just like chunks of mushroom, and there's a skeleton in it that's kind of soggy and damp. And
Let's not do that again.
You recognize
Wanted to be sure.
You recognize that it's the fungal stitchmast you slain earlier, from the wounds upon it.
I like that you actually named it that. I take my great axe and use it like to part away some of the foot-high ground things, so we have a more or less safe-ish path through the next room.
Give me a dexterity saving throw with advantage for danger sense.
Ah, nice.
His coffee is so good.
22.
Cool. So like a couple of times when you slash at the bubbles, they kind of spray this caustic liquid, and it like catches on your boot, and you smell burning like leather rising up through your nostrils. But none of them seem to like give a great gout of it that could dissolve a man. It's more like incidental splatter. And before long, you've hewn a path through this chamber to the next, and you can see like the vines, well, the rope-like tentacles of the mushroom pillars, and the splayed out corpses. And now they seem to have like hardened and almost have this like white calcification on the outside, so it seems like they've all kind of like petrified. But you can kind of, after a moment's looking, see that it's not hard. It just looks hard. It's actually just loads of like small, tiny, light white mushrooms that are giving it an almost crystalline, calcificated look to it. And you can see on the far side of that room that's still filled with the fetid husks of these creatures, where you were planning to head, but were driven back by wounds and an approaching night.
Okay. What's the floor situation in that room?
The floor situation in the third chamber is just masses of bones. There's a higher density.
Still as we left it.
Yeah, it's a higher density of bones than before, and you can see like they're all clustered around where the pillars were, as though they'd been dragged towards these like fungal predators.
Okay, I explained to the others that these pillars, those ones are surely dead. We took care of that last time, but they didn't actually move until we tried to inspect them, but then they were really nasty. So be careful. Just because something doesn't move in this doesn't mean that it can't actually bite you. And then As this was the last chamber we visited before we had to fall back, so we figured that the crown might be somewhere in the middle of all this mess, and decided would have cut through to the next room over there. If you haven't a better plan, that's what we probably should do.
You're the one with the experience in this place. You lead on.
Let's just look around very carefully when we go.
Don't touch anything.
When I cut the wall, just stand back a bit in case of I don't know what. And
I
have
stand back.
my great axe and cut the wall.
Okay. Give me a moment. I'm just going to finish my coffee before I carry on.
No problem.
I have my hammer ready and start like glaring around, like is something going to move?
By the way, this is way creepier than the first time we got here, and we had baby embryo zombie mushrooms.
Brilliant.
Nothing's creepier than an empty chamber. Okay, so you ready your axe and take a swing at the wall, and it like parts with a wet tearing sound, almost as though you were ripping two pieces of meat apart from a haunch of a dead animal. And it
Now I'm getting
parts
hungry.
with a similar kind of stench as ripping open intestines. This waft of feces just rolls out of the room, and as your eyes adjust to the dim light beyond, you can see a couple of things of note. The room is roughly spheroid with similar kind of fungal striations and formations all around. You can see a couple of stones like jutting around the outside of this room, almost enclosing it. They've like collapsed almost inwards as though pushed by the fungus. In the center you can see a large stone, maybe 10 feet or so across, with a flat top. Atop it is a skull, which the top of is like burst open, and you can just see like fungus sprouting out of it as though it's growing from it. And the area around here is littered with dead. You can see skeletons that are holding spears and such, just kind of lying around. But give me a perception test, a sham.
18.
You can see that there's a kind of zone of exclusion in the center, and they're all kind of like clustered further away from the stone in the center. And judging from their directions, like their legs are closer to the center and their heads are like further away. Almost looks like when these people died, they were blown back from the stone by some force. And of course, the one thing you really wanted to know, there is a creature standing in the center of the room, maybe 7 or 8 feet tall, and it's a mushroom. It's very clearly humanoid in shape. You can see a skull in its chest that's human, and ribs working down, and then a pair of skeleton legs folding out into where the skeleton arms below. It's got arms that are very human-esque. You can see like corded muscle, except the muscle is just not muscle fiber, it's mushrooms that have grown in close proximity. And there's an intelligence in the eyes that sprouts from the fronds above the skull. So there's like this human skull, and then about maybe a foot above that is like the broad head of this mushroom, and that's where you can see like this pair of eyes from. And they just turn to look at you as you like cleave open the door. What's your immediate reaction, Asham? I'm assuming the rest of you like step back a bit.
First question, with that 18, do I see the skull in the chest or the skull on the stone wearing a crown, maybe?
Neither the skull in the chest nor the skull on the stone have a crown, but with the 18 you do see the glimmer of gold embedded in one of the walls.
I like this. So the thing is turning around.
It looks straight at you with its eyes. Again, like a foot above where its skull is, and it just kind of looks at you, and you have a moment to react.
I've been here. Nothing here is nice. I would like to rage and.
Okay, so roll initiative. So I will drag you onto the map. You can.
I mean, I let you guys want to talk it out, but I don't think it's the talkative type.
Yeah, I mean, we're all just we're thrown back by the smell from the wall right now. Like you're the only one who sees it, and you start raging. So let's go.
You've told us.
He
all the
reminds me of the
horrible-
Stitch monster from the last time, and I remember
Yeah.
that fight, and I rage.
Mm,
Okay.
how did I always God?
Cleric Last is fine. Cleric Last is superb.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
I have been last in every fight.
It's perfect for you.
Tradition.
Don't complain.
So this mushroom dude is, in comparison to like a human man, how tall is this thing?
He's 7 to 8 feet tall. Like
Okay,
if you
it's fairly
if you
tall.
imagine that he's got the skeleton of a human embedded in him, and then
Mm.
where the skull of that human is, there's like another foot or two, which is just the head of this mushroom, which is
Yeah.
a kind of. It's not very vibrant in color. It's just this like mottled green. It almost looks like someone's taken a toad, stretched it over a mushroom, and then just like put mushrooms sprouting out of it.
So he's
and-
2 Ashams.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. And add turn. Okay. Doop.
What is this
Uh,
pink stuff?
The pink stuff is just the pillars, the stone
stones.
pillars that are like bent inwards.
Ah, okay.
They're
okay.
just
Ah.
mainly there for viewing pleasure. Let me just make it so that.
Until they come to life and eat me.
they're
Happened
stone.
last time. Happened last time.
They are
Pillars, you said.
they are stone pillars, not like fungal pillars.
Yeah.
They are of course festooned with fungus. But, nothing to
And so,
indicate that they are
There are no
anything
doors
other
in
than
this
what they
place, are there? But
No.
No,
Do I
we
get the
have
impression
cut
that-
our way
Um,
yeah. So are the walls like thinner where you cut them through, basically? Is that how?
Essentially, if you imagine like a bubble bath,
Yeah.
that's like the internal structure of this place.
It's
It's
membrane.
just loads of like bubbles or like
Yeah.
like spongy. The walls are like thinner where he's cut them because that's where he's cut them. But
Okay,
assumedly
so-
they would be thinner wherever you cut them, and there would just be a hollow chamber beyond it.
So theoretically, you cut anywhere. Okay.
Theoretically.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm kind of imagining it like I don't know if any of you guys have played Natural Selection.
Mm-hmm.
When the alien creep grows, or I guess StarCraft, where it just did like sort of grows and bubbles, like kind of thing. And is this thing that far away as well? It's really close. Damn.
I know where to cut my walls. Oh, by the way, inspiration I have to say before I use it, right? Before I roll.
Yes.
Okay.
Before a roll.
Just,
No, I'm just checking that everything is set up more or less good enough so that people can see what's going on. And okay. So Asham,
yeah,
you
the longer you
rage.
take for stuff like that, the more I get worried.
So Asham, you rage and you see this fungal abomination in front of you just standing there. What do you do?
I scream, I will cut you down to my size! Charge and Great Axe.
Okay. Make a roll.
Yup. There we go. 19, 15 damage.
Okay. Okay. Unsurprisingly, you hit and cleave into this creature, and as you do so, you hear in your head a voice,
No.
and it says in a almost like this. You know that sound when you open a really old book and there's like that paper on paper sound. Kind of sounds like
Mhm.
that, but a voice, and it goes, "I shall take my payment from you."
I got no gold, you can try, and hack away.
Okay, so you like lop off its arm, and like the skeletal bone just like flops on the floor, and then the fungus that was attached to the skeletal arm just like connects to its leg and begins like climbing up its body.
Oh god.
Lynn, what do you do?
Yeah, I see Asham run forward and I move after him and join him in attacking.
Okay. 12 for 7?
Yep.
So you slam your warhammer into the chest of this thing, and it like kind of bounces, and you can tell that you didn't land a solid blow. Robin, what do you do?
I'm going to run in as well. Check range. Let's see. So 10, 15, 25. I can get to there or there. I think I'll go for there. And yeah, let's just start swinging with the rapier.
Okay, so you
Poking.
give a thrust into the body of this creature, and it like just like thrusts through and clean out the other side, and like it comes out and it's just covered in this sticky goop, and you can tell that the creature doesn't really care. You haven't hit anything vital. You're not even sure what a vital organ to a mushroom would be. Okay.
Heck at the roots.
That was first.
Okay. Okay, so Lynn.
Yep.
Its arm that's crawling up it, it gets to about its hip, and it just kind of extends towards you, and like the fingers, the like fungal fingers just kind of break apart, and like the skeletal hand just falls onto the ground, and there's just the stump remaining. But as it does, it expels this just like cloud towards you, and you find it like settling on your clothing, on the wet cloth, and seeping through it, and the damp cloth you have suddenly gets stained this like bright orange. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay. Doop doop doop.
Okay. So suddenly everything swims. The entire room just becomes like this oversaturated color morass. Where there were like dull shadows and the stench, there's just like this vibrant purples and yellows that seem to pulsate and glow everywhere you look. The smell is like 1,000 times stronger. The cloth that's covering your mouth, suddenly you begin to like almost become hysterical in panic, like you can't breathe. Mechanically, you are poisoned for a minute, and you are incapacitated while you are poisoned, which means you are unable to take any action. You get to repeat this saving throw at the end of each of your turns.
Okay.
And while its climbing hand is doing this, Asham, it swings at you with its sturdy arm.
Bring it.
AC 19!
Indeed.
Okay. So it like slams its arm into your chest, and you just kind of like chest bump its arm back, and it's like it staggers a bit. Hrothgar, what do you do?
Now we see here only the dwarf can get something done, so I move like over here. Please, how do I even move this?
Just click and
You
drag.
have to click on the
have
arrow. Oh, top.
Yeah, and then I like it's that I'm cursing the ineffectiveness of my partners. Then I'm also saying a prayer at the same time, and I bless myself and the dwarf and the halfling.
So everyone except Lynn is affected by bless.
Yes.
What does that do?
So
you get a D4 added to any attack rolls or saving throws.
Okay.
That's okay, Auntie. Thank you. Thank you.
No, the same was last time.
Yeah. So what does this look like? Like, is there any visible characteristic to your divine power?
Yes. So I have this amulet on my neck, and I like raise it up, and like this mumbling that the others can hear. Like it has some like holy holy prayer in it, and it's also muddled with these curses that are like, yeah, you guys are so useless, you can't do this without me. And this light radiates from the amulet and then settles on the ones that are blessed. Yeah.
So, Asham, on your turn, you feel this celestial energy flow over you, and the creature still stands before you. What do you do?
My beard tingles from celestial energy, but since I'm in a rage, I don't mind and keep hacking.
Go for it.
I don't need the +4, or is that damage? No, it's just the 10.
Nice on the attack.
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
So-
So you swing your great axe yet again, and you chop off its other arm, and like the bones just shatter, and it like falls to the ground, and it just looks at you with this anger
As a
in its soulless eyes.
As a bonus action, I would like to kick that arm away.
So you kick the arm away, but as your foot like slams into it, it just like
Oh, no.
disintegrates into this mass, and you see like suddenly sprout out of its shoulder like this dark red fungus that just quickly forms, and it's almost like the blood of a human in an arm, and then suddenly it hardens and like green scabs break out all over it, and then like little mushrooms poke through, boop, 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 and then you realize, oh, there's 5 mushroom fungal fingers.
Nice.
But you can see like as it does that, as it regenerates its arm, it like kind of shrinks in on itself, and the chest of the creature like gets sunken and sullen, such that the human rib cage like is sticking out of it now. And you can see that
It doesn't like it.
you can see that it's exerting itself to remain fighting. Lynn, at the end of your go, could you make another Constitution roll?
Yeah, since I'm poisoned, does that mean anything special? Do I need to... Is there damage or something like that?
No,
Disadvantage on
just-
attacks.
You're
Okay.
incapacitated and can't do anything.
Then I'll just do a save. See if it goes better.
Okay.
Yes.
So at the end of your turn, you grab the cloth and like rip it away from your mouth, and suddenly you can breathe again. And like that moment of panic passes, and your head clears, and all the vibrant colors like fade away, and suddenly you've just got this town. So on to roll.
Excellent.
Yeah. Damn, I see Asham doing all the work here, and I'm not going to let him steal all the glory. So, let's see how this goes. Ooh, is that hit?
You have a D4 in case.
That's added in already.
You have a D4 added into that?
Yeah,
Oh.
you can. If you look at the sheets on the bottom left, you can add in the D4. It's weird because it doesn't look like it's a roll, but you see the +3 at the end of the attack, and then on the one that crit failed, it says +1. You see, because the modifier is changing each time, but it is actually rolling. But
Oh yeah, you put
it
it in
just
the
Do me a
avoids
sheet.
it.
favor and roll that again.
yeah, sure. Yeah, the modifiers will be different each time. So yeah, look, there's a +4 and a +4 there. So I rolled.
Okay, yeah. So I'm learning new things about Roll20 every day. So your rapier
I know, right?
slides into its chest, and it like rips out, and you can see like a heart, like on the end of your rapier, just skewered there, and it's like a heart, like a human heart, except as soon as you like rip it out of the creature, it just like curls apart, and you can just see like this mushroom just like flitter off it, and it just begins like dropping chunks of fungal frond on the floor, and you're like, what? But as you
Right.
like rip it out, the chest of the creature kind of like expands, and it's now like open, like a cavity, and you can see inside, and it's just filled with these strange organs, which they look like a macabre approximation of human internals. So they've got like lungs which are filling and deflating, but you can't see any like esophagus that they connect to. You can see like a stomach like is churning, and you can see like a couple of humanoid bones inside them. But again, there's no digestive system. It doesn't connect to it. It's like everything's there, but it all looks
It's
wrong.
it.
Nice. As a mechanic, I did hit, right?
Yeah, you hit and dealt
Okay.
damage.
Yeah, so as I'm looking at all that, and as I pull it out, I'd like to actually do a Divine Smite as well on top of that.
Go for it. It is not undead, celestial, or fiend.
I didn't. No, I didn't think it was.
Nice.
And all its internal organs just burn with radiant fire, and you can see like it just shrivels, its chest collapses, And now all that's supporting its upper half is like this human spine that's running from like these stumbled fungal legs to the upper body, and you can see like sprouts of fungal like mycelia falling down from the top of its chest and rising up from the bottom of its leg, winding around the spine as they're like struggling to connect, and the whole thing's just like sinking in on itself. And as it does this, Asham, Brotkar, and Lynn, you will hear the voice in your head like this raspy, papering sound of "Destroyers, infidels, you will all die." And then on its turn, it gestures at Robin, and it kind of like just turns to face you, and then you see rise from the ground just this like vapor that like cloys to your skin, sinks through your fabric, and like you get in patches where your leather armor suddenly starts sprouting mushrooms. You need to make a Constitution saving throw. I believe you'll have advantage. No,
If it's poison.
This
Oh.
one's not poison, unfortunately. Yeah.
Ah.
No, you do not get advantage on this one. If you had got
Never
hit by
have
the one that Lynn had
inspiration.
got, you would get advantage, but not for this one.
Never been more disappointed by the fact I'm not being poisoned.
Okay, but you do get to add a D4 to that from, unless you've already done it.
Already added in.
Okay.
You should have
So,
inspirated.
like, it sinks into your skin, and you feel it like infiltrating your pores, and then suddenly you seize up, like you just lock. You're stunned for a minute until you can succeed a saving throw at the end of your turn, and then it
Sweet.
swings at you, Asham, again with its like.
Bring
I
it.
guess, I guess it's like freshly formed like arm, just like lunges towards you.
Interpose shield.
The shield of Lynn is just like whoop, in the way.
You don't have to do that. I'm tough as a nail.
May as well. Gives him disadvantage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you see the thing like swing towards you with its like. Did I do that formula right?
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
Drop
Drop
by one.
ice.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it would have hit without the shield.
You would have hit otherwise, though. You
Excellent.
can thank Lynn.
So like it lunges towards you and like it grabs onto you and you begin to feel your skin blackening, and then Lynn bashes its arm away with her shield. Brotka, what do you do? There's just like this skeleton with legs of fungus and this towering frond.
Can I fit in there to hit it with my hammer?
You could probably like smash your way through the fungus if you made an athletics check or a strength saving throw.
Yeah, maybe I'll just hang back then. I feel this crazy urge to just throw burning hands into the whole mess, but
Screw you.
maybe I hold myself for now. And do I have any interesting spells? Sacred Flame isn't like
It's
fire,
radiant
right?
damage.
It's radiant.
Although
now.
it's called Sacred
We've
Flame,
established that
it
so
does
many
not
times.
burn.
Last session alone, he had to clarify 3 times.
It's really annoying. They called it Sacred Flame, but it doesn't ignite anything. So it's just like, holy fire, which doesn't burn anything. And the players are like, well, I cast Sacred Flame on. It sets it on fire, right? And it's like, no. Anyway,
Oh,
Holy non-flammable fire.
yeah,
Like rename it to like Sacred Fury or something like that, and just be done
flame
with it.
like radiance descends on the creature is the description, so I guess it's flame like. So yeah, I can cast Sacred Flame on this creature from where I am at.
cool. What's your save DC?
13.
Huh? 13?
Nice.
Yeah.
Roll up damage.
How much damage does it even do?
D8.
Should cast it here. 7.
Okay,
Nice.
so you watch as it just like begins to like flicker as bright lights burst all over it, and where the light touches it, it's like mushroom skin peels apart and pops, and like little pustules fly out, and you can see like spores exploding. It's almost like a mini fireworks display with mushrooms, but at the end of this like radiant flash, it's like staggering. Both of its legs are now like bone, like skeletal bone, human skeletal bone, with like the barest amount of like fungal strata clinging to it. The only thing that's mostly intact is its head, which is like wobbling atop the skull, and you can see like it's almost like drawing everything up into itself. So like all the bones are getting like scrunched together, so it's shrinking. It's now maybe 5 feet tall. Asham, what do you do?
I would like to recklessly attack and strike at the connection between head and fungus thing.
Go for it.
You had to claim all the glory, didn't you?
Plus D4, so.
Unsurprisingly, you hit. The spinal column cracks, the skull tears apart, and the like fungal frond just explodes in this shower of what would be gory viscera, but is instead mycelial debris. And it just like pitters down onto the ground, and as it does, you can feel the entire like ground beneath you heave for a second. That you have to steady yourself, and the whole kind of like chamber you're in kind of like contracts slightly, and then like bulges and contract, and it like begins to like twist and churn. But you can see that like it's not like in immediate danger of collapsing in on itself or tearing itself apart. It just seems to be like spasmodically twitching as though receiving some unknown signal. So combat's over. The creature is deceased.
That was short.
What would you like to do?
You were just hacking away at it.
Heavily
so
breathing.
Asham, where did you see the shiny thing?
Somewhere in the wall. Also in the middle, there's this mushroom skull. Yeah, heavily breathing. I first turn to Rodgar and suggest maybe you want to use your flamey thing to just burn all the rest of what is left of this body. I don't know.
Looks pretty dead to me, Ash.
We are
Just to be on the safe side, I keep hacking at the body.
It turns into like pulp beneath your blows.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
It
Thanks.
offers no further resistance, and you're very quickly just standing in ground that you're churning up.
Yeah.
It's just filled
I
with
said-
The rage resides.
I put my hand on you, Asham, and say, "We should act quickly. The cleric's blessing won't last long. You can quickly grab that thing you saw."
Yeah, where was the crown in the wall?
It's just like there's like a golden glint embedded in a wall on the western side.
I go there and I gently try to cut it out with my axe.
Okay, so you cut it out with your axe, and like a segment of what you believe to be a crown falls out, and you can see that it looks golden in color, and it has like almost Celtic knots running along the band, and a inward curving spike that suggests that there would perhaps be more of them that would meet in the middle. But you can see that it's not intact. It's maybe a quarter of what would have been a crown.
Let me guess, the crown of 4 tribes. Damn it.
Aha! Yeah, I see that happen, and Robin moves to the other side of the room and just like cuts us like into the wall to see if there's anything like hidden there.
Okay. If you want, you can just roll me an investigation check.
Sure. I don't want to because that's a terrible skill for me, but I'll do it.
I suggest everyone inspects all the walls.
Okay, so as you fan out and begin searching the walls, it maybe takes you little more than a minute or two, but you manage to find 4 fragments of this crown, and when you put them together, the breaks join seamlessly. It looks as though it was torn apart from some force exerted in the center, like almost like a magical explosion, or someone like really strong put their hands inside it and ripped it apart, or it was just put really hard down on someone's head that was too big.
So
It looks to me like that head in the middle exploded and the crown burst out. Maybe this
I was
is
having the
the
same kind of feeling.
maybe this head is the center of the fungus. Maybe we should somehow get rid of it to
You
cleanse
said
the
there was
area.
like a pillar of stuff coming from. What was I imagining that part?
It's almost like a like a bursting mass. It doesn't extend into the ceiling, but you can see like it like bursts out of the top of the skull and then kind of like reaches about a height of maybe 3 or 4 inches before like flopping down on all sides like an opened flower, and then trailing down like weeping willow or like roots and like sinking into the ground around it, such that this fungal mass seems to be like spilling out from it over the stone and into the ground.
Yeah. Do I feel like this is the origin of this whole thing? Maybe.
Yeah. Can I inspect the pillar with stone cunning dwarven thing?
What the pillars around?
The pillar where the skull in the middle is on.
It's on a stone, not a pillar.
Yeah. Oh, then can I inspect that stone pedestal or whatever you want to call it?
What do you want to know?
Is it the same age as the whole Stonehenge structure?
Yeah, it's the same age as the Stonehenge structure. You probably reckon it'll be like some central altar or something.
Okay.
Without like a religion check or a history check, you wouldn't know more.
Can we see if does it look broken? Or is it just grown around it?
The stone in the center does not look broken. However, you can see like some scores in it, like where it's been scratched heavily, like something's gouged into it.
The mushroom, when it grew, maybe bursted a bit. I mean, I'm not good with any of this religious stuff, but I can smack that skull in the middle if you want.
Wait there, Asham. Wait, I don't think just hitting it's gonna work. This is a big mushroom. And
that's how I solve my problems.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not very learned either. That's kind of my approach. But I'm wondering if one of our fellows know something about this. Do you know? Are you a book reader? Do you know much about this?
But I can help someone smash something if you want.
No,
you're a girl
I'll tell you
of
what.
my heart, lass.
Asham, when you said no fire, I might lied a bit, and I open out my sack and I put out 5 bottles of oil and go. I always keep them on me. You said this place is quite flammable. We got the crowns. We may as well just cleanse it with fire, right?
Well, Robert, yeah.
No, I like the sound of that.
Let me show you. Where we entered the room, I cut I'm wearing gloves just before you ask, Flashy. I cut a bit of the wall and then tried to ignite it with flame and tinder somewhere where nothing else around can be ignited, just to show the others that thing goes up in flame real fast.
So he gets like a small scrap of the fungal mass surrounding the wall, and as he does, it twitches and pulsates spasmodically, and he ignites it. And there's a delay where it, like the spark catches it, and then a flame like runs up it, and then it just like goes into like this pyrotechnic fireball.
May I suggest that we move out of this area before lighting it on fire?
Oh no, of course. I've got a plan. Right. You guys get to the door. I'll set this up.
Wait a second. You think that... I assume you want to put the oil in the middle. You think it might be safe to approach? I'm not sure if it's safe to approach the stone in the middle at the pedestal. Can I inspect that whole thing?
Yeah,
be my guest.
What you want to know, Asham? What
If
you
there is-
do and what you want to know.
If there's in any way any kind of poisonous gas that's going to explode when you get too close, or if the fungi that come out of the skull actually move or twitch or wait for you to... If it's a trap.
So like you move, and the only thing you can learn is there's not any pustules or like bubbles or any like bowing of the fungus around from it. So there's nothing to suggest that there's any hidden pockets of gas. Looking at the fungus that like emerges from the skull, you can clearly see that it's moving from inside the skull outward, and that there's no like source of like fungus coming from underneath it. So there's like a little zone of exclusion underneath it where it's just touching the bare rock, and then this fungus is just extruding from the skull atop it.
Okay, so the skull is definitely the source.
Though smashing it sounds good. Burning it even better.
Before we burn anything,
more permanent.
Before we burn anything, let's just be sure that we don't burn any more gold that might be around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Asham? That's a very good point. We should definitely do that. Everyone, fan out. Search for gold.
Okay. So, Asham, could you please roll a perception with advantage for the group?
I'm not good at it. I'm sorry, guys. 15. Okay, good enough.
Okay.
Not bad at all.
Well, when I'm saying I'm not good at it, it's the worst of my incredibly awesome stats. Actually, that would be intelligence, but same different.
You're just that good at D&D, basically, Mike.
Yeah, with that one roll I did to roll up the stats for this character, I'm that good at D&D.
Yeah, you're just really skilled. You're really good at rolling those dice.
So, Asham, as you move around and the rest of the group spreads out, you find a couple of things. You notice that there are several areas where these bodies are, where the spears are of higher quality, and you can see a group of these dead warriors that have armor. By your standards, pretty shoddy. It's like leather or something, but you can see amid the mushrooms that are sprouting from it, where there's intricate work where it's been etched or engraved, not engraved, whatever the appropriate process for
Beautified.
leather is. Beautified with these Celtic knot patterns amid it, and amid these groups, these 4 groups of warriors, you find some coinage. It's nothing to write home about. It's like a couple of handfuls of silver here and there. But amid each of these 4 groups, you notice 4 corpses in particular that are much finer. You can see that their spears are of this dark hardwood or this vibrant red metallic wood-looking thing. And one of them in particular has a spear, and the head of it looks like some kind of chitin rather than metal. And the warriors wielding those specific 4 spears that look fancier than the rest of them all seem to have the most beautified armor possible. They seem quite large in stature, but there's nothing that stands out other than their weapons and armor as identifying them as particularly wealthy individuals with bulging sacks of gold. But as you perform the clean sweep of the area, you hit upon the jackpot. As you're following the leg of a skeleton that's quite close to the stone, you're following the leg and you follow it, and it goes underneath the fungus. And you walk forward a bit, and you get to where a vertebrae just sprouts out of the fungus, and it has no skull. The skull is just gone. But around the neck of this sprouting vertebrae, you see a necklace of gems and dark wooden carvings. And the torso and arms of this corpse, as well as the skull, you can't see them. Assumedly because the skull's atop the stone, and the body because it's submerged beneath the fungus.
Would it be worth to collect the gear from? I just call them the Royal Guard for lack of a better, from the fancy ones, to sell them to Saudi.
The leather armor, probably not, because it's dotted with mushrooms. The spears of the Royal Guard, for lack of a better term, they're fancy, but they're also rotted and decayed in places. In particular, the 4 spears of note, it would be worth collecting them, because none of the metal or wooden or chitin components have any fungus sprouting on them that can't just be rubbered off. So you could gain 4 in brackets royal spears if you wanted.
Okay, I do that because I assume that the collector might be also interested in obtaining those. And then First, I inspect if the necklace is in any way connected to a fungal gas trap, and then I also to grab the necklace.
Give me an intelligence check.
Yeah, because that's gonna work out for me. No, it's not. I'm totally safe. I grab it.
Okay. Give me a strength check.
That's fine.
Excellent. Okay, so you like grab hold of the necklace and give it a hearty tug, and you
Chinese.
realize you realize it's not like coming free immediately. So you like give it a heartier tug, and it just like rips, and you see like this fungal carpet like just rip away with it, exposing the corpse of the being beneath, and you like give the necklace a couple of shakes, and all this like fungus just like flops off. Now that you've got the entirety of it, you can see that there are a number of like dark ebony or mahogany like carvings that are maybe about the size of 2 fingers, and they look to be like animal carvings. So there's one of a bear, one of an eagle, one of a wolf, and other associated animals. But between each of them, connected to the like corded silver thread necklace by like a clasp, are these gems, each of which is about this size, and they're like this kind of full blue color, and you recognize them as lapis lazuli. And a necklace of this construction is probably worth maybe 150 gold. The lapis lazuli, if you like just tore them off and shoved them in your pocket, probably worth 100 alone. So if you sell the thing as a whole, it can fetch 150. If you sell it as separate gems, it's 100. Each of the lapis lazuli is worth 10 on its own.
Maybe the collector wants that as well.
Maybe.
We can certainly ask
We should
him.
inspect it overnight when we get back to Ertenblood. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not into that whole mojo stuff, but maybe one of you can look at it overnight, making sure it's not
Yeah,
wobbly wobbly magic stuff.
it's really
bad
pretty.
idea.
It might be magical.
Yeah. Also, we collected 4 Royal Guard spears, and I assume that's that.
How much gold did we get from it? It wasn't.
Yeah, a silver, random eluded silver from skeletons.
Like 43 silver. It's
I
nothing to write home
counted.
about. It's like an allotted collection of copper and silver coins. The point is, none of them had any gold on them.
Fine enough for me.
Right, are we done exploring this complex? Do we think we know it? We're just gonna burn it now.
You still sure I shouldn't just smash it?
No,
You can smash it,
burning
then I
sounds-
can burn it.
sounds
It's
better.
really your choice. I feel like burning it would kind of remove the whole thing. Smashing it might work, it might not.
Can't we do both? I mean,
You can't
first
do-
smash
I mean,
it
I'm not
and
gonna
then
stop
just
you doing
pour
both.
oil on it, just for
Well,
good measure.
how
Maybe
about,
the oil will go further if you smash it first.
How about we?
Sounds good.
How about we take a break here, and we come back for the final hour, and you can have a nice decision-making process in the break.
I don't mind it. Okay.
Nice.
So see you all in about 5 minutes, and see you then. Ciao, ciao.